We all have that one regret that keeps us awake at night. Maybe it was a bad breakup. Maybe you sold a house a few years too early. Maybe you had the chance to buy Bitcoin in 2013, but you bought a pizza instead. Whatever financial mistake haunts you, I promise it is nothing compared to what happened inside this building. In 1998, two exhausted Stanford grad students walked into Yahoo's headquarters. They were tired of running their little search engine startup. They wanted to get back to their PhD studies. So, they offered to sell their entire company to Yahoo for $1 million. Yahoo looked at the tech and said, "No thanks, it's not worth it." Fast forward to 2006. A 22-year-old Mark Zuckerberg shakes hands with Yahoo executives. He has just agreed to sell Facebook for $1 billion. But at the very last second, Yahoo's CEO tries to lower the price by 15% to save a few bucks. Insulted, Mark Zuckerberg walks out of the room and tears up the contract. Those two companies, Google and Facebook, are now worth over $4 trillion combined. And Yahoo? It was eventually sold for parts, for a fraction of what it was worth at its peak. This isn't just a story about a failed tech company. It is the story of the most expensive hesitation in human history. From the undisputed king of the internet to a digital zombie. This is how Yahoo burned the winning lottery ticket. Twice. If you are under 25, you probably think of Yahoo as that finance site your dad uses, or the place where fantasy football happens. But in 1998, Yahoo was the internet. Before Google existed, you didn't search for things. You browsed. Yahoo was the phone book of the web. It was a massive directory, and it was curated by actual humans. They were the first true portal. You went there for news, email, sports, and finance. They wanted to keep you on their site all day. And because they owned the world's attention, they became the most valuable company on the planet. At the absolute peak of the dot-com bubble in 2000, Yahoo was worth $125 billion. They had so much cash, they didn't know what to do with it. They were buying companies left and right. They bought Mark Cuban's https://www.google.com/search?Q equals broadcast.com for $5.7 billion. And then essentially shut it down. They were the empire. And like all empires, they got arrogant. Here is the exact moment the timeline split. It's 1998. Larry Page and Sergey Brin have a problem. Their new search engine, originally called Backrub, later renamed Google, is actually too good. It is using too much bandwidth on Stanford University's servers. They want to sell it for $1 million so they can just finish their degrees. They go to Yahoo. Yahoo's answer? Your technology is too good. This sounds insane today. But hear me out. Yahoo's entire business model was stickiness. They wanted you to stay on yahoo.com as long as possible to look at banner ads. Google's technology was designed to send you away from the site as fast as possible, directly to the best search result. Yahoo executives literally said, "Why would we buy a machine that kicks users off our own website?" So they said no. Larry and Sergey went home and built Google themselves. Fast forward to 2002. Google is growing at a terrifying speed. Yahoo finally realizes, search is actually important. Yahoo's new CEO, Terry Semel, a Hollywood guy, not a tech guy, tries to fix the mistake. He offers to buy Google for $3 billion. Google says, "Make it $5 billion." Terry Semel says, "No, that's too expensive." He haggled over $2 billion. Today, Google makes $2 billion in revenue every 3 days. If missing Google was a tragedy, missing Facebook was a comedy of errors. It's 2006. Yahoo is starting to struggle against Google, but they still have a mountain of cash. They see this new addictive website called the Facebook taking over college campuses. They approach Mark Zuckerberg with a massive offer, $1 billion in cash. Mark's own board members, including Peter Thiel, tell him, "Take the money. You are 22 years old. Take the money. It's a done deal." They shake hands. But right before the paperwork is signed, Yahoo's stock drops slightly in the public market. Terry Semel, trying to play the part of a tough negotiator, calls Mark. He says, Because our stock is down, we can't do 1 billion anymore. How about 850 million? Mark Zuckerberg, who didn't really want to sell his baby anyway, was deeply insulted. He felt Yahoo was trying to squeeze him. He hung up the phone. He tore up the term sheet. Months later, Yahoo panicked, came crawling back, and said, Okay, fine, we'll pay the full billion. Mark said, price just went up. He never sold. That petty $150 million price cut cost Yahoo a company that is now worth $1.5 trillion. By 2008, Yahoo was bleeding out. Google had won search. Facebook was winning social media. But there was one last miraculous lifeboat. Microsoft. Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer saw buying Yahoo as his only chance to defeat Google. So he made a massive, hostile bid. He offered to buy Yahoo for $44.6 billion. This was a 62% premium over what Yahoo was actually trading for. It was a golden parachute gifted by the gods. But Jerry Yang, the Yahoo founder, who had returned as CEO, said no. He said Yahoo was undervalued. He let his pride convince him they were worth more. He fought Microsoft off tooth and nail. Ballmer eventually threw his hands up and walked away. 6 months later, the 2008 global financial crisis hit. Yahoo's stock completely collapsed to $8 a share. Jerry Yang had turned down $44 billion just to maintain control of a sinking ship. The next decade was a slow, painful, public death. They hired Marissa Mayer away from Google to save them. She tried. She bought the blogging site Tumblr for $1.1 billion. Years later, it was sold off for just $3 million. That is not a typo. She tried to pivot to mobile. She tried to pivot to media. They suffered massive data breaches that exposed 3 billion user accounts. But the internet had moved on. Finally, in 2017, the executioner arrived. Verizon bought Yahoo's core internet business. The final price, $4.48 billion. Remember, Microsoft offered $44 billion just 9 years earlier. By waiting, stubbornly clinging to the past, they destroyed 90% of their remaining value. It was the saddest garage sale in tech history. So, where is Yahoo today, in late 2025? Surprisingly, it's not dead. It's currently owned by Apollo, a massive private equity firm, and they actually turned it profitable again. Yahoo Finance is still the best place on the internet to check stock charts. Yahoo Fantasy Sports is still a juggernaut, but it is a utility. It is a tool. It is no longer a king. There is a parallel universe out there where Yahoo handed over $1 million for Google in 1998 and didn't haggle over Facebook in 2006. In that universe, Yahoo is the only company that matters. There is no Alphabet. There is no Meta. There is just Yahoo. But in our universe, they are the answer to a depressing trivia question. What is the most expensive word in the English language? For Yahoo, the answer was no.